Bihari.
Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Padmahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj srimadbhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Yeah, I thought Zach was going to get the book. Oh. It's a long journey, huh? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled, what's the title again? Canto? The Fourth Order, Creation of the Fourth Order. And we are on Chapter 1, Genealogical Daughters of Manu, in text 31.
You got one of these.
Tasmad angsha bhutaste atmaja loka vishutaha pavitaranga bhadram te visrapsyanti chate yashaha. Tasmad angsha bhutaste Atmaja loka vishrutaha Bhavitaranga badram te Visrapsyanti chates yashaha. Tasmad angsha bhutaste Atmaja loka vishrutaha Bhavitaranga badram te Visrapsyanti chate yashaha.
Tasmad bhutaste Bhavitaranga badram te Visrapsyanti chate yasaha.
Loka
Atmaloka Vishvataha Viparanga Bhadram Te Vishrabshanti Chateyasaha
Word by word. Atasmad.
Tasmad.
Excuse me. Sorry. Ata.
Ata.
Therefore.
Therefore.
Asmat.
Asmat.
Are.
Are.
Angshabhutaha.
Angshabhutaha.
Plenary expansions.
Plenary expansions.
Te. Your. Atmajaha.
Atmajaha.
Sons.
Sons.
Loka Vishrutaha.
Loka Vishrutaha.
Very famous in the world.
Very famous in the world.
Pavitaraha.
Pavitaraha.
In the future will be born.
In the future will be born.
Anga.
Anga.
Dear great sage.
Dear great sage.
Badram.
Badram.
All good fortune.
All good fortune.
Te.
Te.
Unto you.
To you.
Visrapsyanti.
Visrapshanti.
Will spread. Cha. Also. Te. Your. Yashaha.
Yashaha.
Reputation. Translation. You will have sons who will represent a partial manifestation of our potency, and because we desire all good fortune for you, those sons will glorify your reputation throughout the world. So these are the three deities talking to Atri Muni. And the three deities are, yes, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Thus, next text, thus while the couple looked on, the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, disappeared from that place after bestowing upon Atri Muni the benediction. Thereafter, from the partial representation of Brahma, the moon god was born of them. From the partial representation of Vishnu, the great mystic Dattatreya was born. And from the partial representation of Shankar, Lord Shiva, Durvasa was born. Now you may hear from me of the many sons of Angira. Angira's wife, Shraddha, gave birth to 4 daughters named Sinivali, Kuha, Raka, and Anumati. Besides these 4 daughters, she also had another 2 sons. One of them was known as Utya, and the other was the learned scholar Brihaspati. Pulasta begot in his wife Havirbu one son of the name Agastya, who in his next birth became Da Ragni. Besides him, Pulasta begot another very great and saintly son, whose name was Vishrava. Vishrava had 2 wives. The first wife was Ida Vida, from whom Kuvera, the master of all yakshas, was born, and the next wife was named Keshini, from whom 3 sons were born: Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Bhishana. Whoa. Gati, the wife of the sage Pulaha, gave birth to 3 sons, named Karmashreshta, Variyan, and Sahishnu, and all of them were great sages. Purport: Gati, the wife of Pulaha, was the 5th daughter of Kardama Muni. She was very faithful to her husband, and all her sons were as good as he. 39. Kratu's wife, Kriya, gave birth to 60,000 great sages. 60,000, huh? The other day, some devotee was saying how their daughter didn't want to give birth to one because, the pain involved. This is 60,000. Gave birth to 60,000 great sages named the Valikilas, and these great sages were greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge, and their bodies were illuminated by such knowledge. Kriya was the 6th daughter of Kardama Muni, and she produced 60,000 sages, who are known as the Valikilas because they all retired from family life as Vanaprasthas. 40. The great sage Vashishta begot in his wife Urja, sometimes called Arundhati, 7 spotlessly great sages, headed by the sage named Chitraketu. The names of these 7 sages are as follows: Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ubana, Vasubridjana, and Dyuman. Some other very competent sons were born from Vashishta's other wife. Purport: Urja, who is sometimes known as Arundhati and was the wife of Vashishta, was the 9th daughter of Kardama Muni. Chitti, wife of the sage Artava, gave birth to a son named Ashvashira by accepting a great vow called Dadyansha. Now you may hear from me about the descendants of the sage Bhrigu. Purport: The wife of Atharva, known as Chitti, is also known as Shanti. She was the 8th daughter of Kardama Muni. All right, so we're on text 43. We're going to read till 46 or 56. The great. I keep on reading sage, but for some reason I keep on wanting to say the great sage. Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I don't know why. I keep on wanting to say the great sage, the great sage. The sage Bhrigu was highly fortunate. And his wife, known as Kyati, he begot 2 sons, named Datta and Vidatta, and 1 daughter named Shri, who was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The sage Meru had 2 daughters, named Ayati and Niyati, whom he gave in charity to Datta and Vidatta. Ayati and Niyati gave birth to 2 sons, Mrikanda and Prana. From Mrikanda, Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana the sage Vedashira, whose son was Ushana Shukracharya, also known as Kavi. Thus Kavi also belonged to the descendants of the Bhrigu dynasty. My dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the descriptions of this dynasty with faith will be relieved from all sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha. Daksha begot 16 very beautiful daughters with lotus-like eyes and his wife Prasuti. Of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma, and 1 daughter was given to Agni. One of the remaining 2 daughters was given in charity to the Pitri Loka, where she resides very amicably. What is it? Amicably. What does that mean? Okay. And the other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of sinful persons from material entanglement. The names of the 13 daughters of Daksha who were given to Dharma are Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Meda, Tatiksha, Shri, and Murti. These 13 daughters produced the following sons. Shraddha gave birth to Shubha, Maitri produced Prasada, Daya gave birth to Abai, Shanti gave birth to Sukha, Tushti gave birth to Muda, Pushti gave birth to Smaya, Kriya gave birth to Yoga, Unnati gave birth to Darpa, Buddhi gave birth to Arta, Meda gave birth to Smriti, Tiksha gave birth to Chema, and Shri gave birth to Pushaya. Murti, a reservoir of all respectable qualities, gave birth to Sri Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so there's going to be a test tomorrow. Remember this. Specifically this one. 54. Yeah, draw a tree. Sometimes there's devotees do that. I don't think it's in the back here, but sometimes there's trees made, family trees. On the occasion of the appearance of Narayan, the entire world was full of joy. Everyone's mind became tranquil, and thus in all directions the air, the rivers, and the mountains became pleasant. In the heavenly planets, bands began to play, and they showered flowers from the sky. The pacified sages chanted Vedic prayers. The denizens of heaven, known as the Gandharvas and Kiranas, sang. The beautiful damsels of the heavenly planets danced, and in this way, at the time of the appearance of Narayan, all signs of good fortune were visible. Just at that time, great demigods like Brahma also offered their respectful prayers. 56 has a purport. The demigods said, "Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the transcendental personality of Godhead, who created as his external energy, this cosmic manifestation, which is situated in him as the air and clouds are situated in space, and who has now appeared in the form of Narayan Rishi in the house of Dharma. Purport. The universal form of the Lord is the cosmic manifestation, which is an exhibition of the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In space there are innumerable varieties of planets and also the air, and in the air there are variously colored clouds, and sometimes we see airplanes running from one place to another. Thus the entire cosmic manifestation is full of variety, but actually that variety is a manifestation of the external energy of the Supreme Lord, and that energy is situated in him. Now the Lord himself, after manifesting his energy, appeared within the creation of his energy, which is simultaneously one with and different from himself. And therefore the demigods offer their respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who manifests himself in such varieties. There are some philosophers, called non-dualists, who because of their impersonal conception think that varieties are false. In this verse it is specifically stated, Yo Mayaya Virachitam. This indicates that the varieties are a manifestation of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, because the energy is non-different from the Godhead, the varieties are also factual. The material varieties may be temporary, but they are not false. They are a reflection of the spiritual varieties. Here the word Patichakshanaya, there are varieties, announces the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared as Narayan Rishi, and who is the origin of all varieties of material nature. Om Jnanativedandasya Karanchana Shavakya Chakshuvan Malitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Makam Kadivachalam Pangam Mangayate Girim Yakripadamaham Vande Shri Gurandiri Charanam Vancha Kalpuribhishta Kipasindabevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a very famous, the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita is famous, but there's a very famous verse that a lot of devotees learn and quote. Jiver Swarup Hoy Krishna Nitya Das Jiver Tatasta Shakti Beta Beta Prakash. Krishnara. You want to tell us what that means, Zach? Oh, you could tell. How about, okay, yeah, you could tell. One with and different, yeah. One with and different. So, so this idea that some people have that, they are the supreme Godhead or they're God or whatever they whatever they're thinking, is actually evil in the sense that it goes against the very nature of who they are and who everyone is. Intrinsically. So people who think that and people who propagate that, it's actually really not good. And therefore in Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantra, which Srila Prabhupada himself, interesting enough, he himself created, that we sing every day, that we chant every day, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Gustaya Buddhaya, right? He himself wrote that. Sometimes, a lot of the times, the guru doesn't write it himself, the disciples write it, they come up with it. So, in that, he stated his mission, which was to preach the message of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and what else? Gauravani? Yeah. nirvishesha shunyavadi, the impersonalism, the voidism, to destroy that or dismantle that, and deliver the Western world, right? So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody here ever met somebody who thought they're God, but there are people like that. I remember Tirtha Maharaj and Kanai Balai, they would go up to LA frequently and they would pick up books, the BBT there, and then they would come to SanDiego and distribute. They had the Shastra Dawn program, which they put books in offices and dentists, and a lot of books, thousands of books. So they'd go up there once a month or something like that. So they went up there, and then on their way back to SanDiego, they stopped off at a rest stop, to maybe rest a little, have some prasadam, something like that. So when they went to the rest stop, there was some guy, and he came up to them. And, Tirtha Maharaj was dressed like this, and so, naturally you attract a lot of people, sometimes interesting people. So some guy went up to him and said, oh, you're a monk, and this and that, and then Tirtha Maharaj said, yes, and then the guy just flat out said, oh, well, I'm God, And he was like dead serious. He wasn't joking around. He was like dead serious, like, I'm God. And then Tirtha Maharaj and Kanai Balai, they just said, oh, nice to meet you. We've been waiting to see you. Please accept our obeisances. Like this. And then Tirtha Maharaj and Kanai Balai, they just started laughing uncontrollably, and they laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing and more laughing. And anybody who knows Kanai Balai, he has that uncontrollable laugh, which could go on for a long time. And Tirtha Maharaj was also participating. So they both were just, really cracking up. And then this guy was getting mad, God was getting mad. He was getting mad. And then he just walked. No, he didn't invoke the chakra. That was true. He could have invoked the chakra if he was, Vishnu, but yeah, he couldn't do that. And he just got mad and left. I mean, I was thinking when you said about the chakra, you're thinking about in Krishna book with the Paundraka, he had the 4 arms. Paundraka, he said, and he wrote a letter to Krishna, oh, I am God, and you should surrender to me, and give up your nonsense, sarvadhamma pratyaja. Yeah, give up your symbols of the chakra and the lotus and the conch, and I'm going to defeat you. And then Krishna sent back a really fiery letter. He was saying, I forgot what he said. I wish we could. Something that, in other words, I'm going to kill you, pretty much, in a very interesting language. And it doesn't exactly explain in Krishna book how he exactly attached those those other 2 extra arms, because you have to imagine, like somehow he attached those 2 arms. I don't know how, but he had 2 arms in the peacock, whatever, feather, all this stuff. But yeah, Krishna defeated him. So yeah, there are people who think that, and they're very serious about it. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it gives and throughout the Shastra, it gives many different descriptions of you could say the characteristics of God. Hare Krishna. The characteristics of God, or the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna himself gives in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, I think text 29, Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvalokam maheshwaram suradim sarvabhutanam gatva mam shantam richati. So Krishna says, one who understands, accepts, acknowledges me to be the supreme friend, the enjoyer, the proprietor of all planets, and what else? That's it. They will attain peace. Shantam richati, they'll attain peace. So if one is thinking they're God, or if someone's thinking they're God, then practically speaking, what they're more or less saying is that I am the supreme enjoyer, right? I am the best friend of all living entities, and I am the proprietor of everything. which you could say is, if we look at materialistic people, like purely materialistic people, they're also thinking that. Yeah, they're also thinking that. So actually it's not different, although somehow or other people think, oh, it's very spiritual. But no, it's not spiritual. And mostly people think it's spiritual because a lot of these points aren't brought up to them. That's actually a foolish idea. There was one devotee, he's from Mayapur, his name's Rasikananda. He's a very interesting devotee. You know how he makes his money? He stacks rocks. That's how he makes his money. He makes all of his money stacking rocks, and he supports himself like that, and he pays the SanDiego rent like that, which is sometimes pricey, the SanDiego rent. If you go down to Seaport Village, which is one of the tourist locations in SanDiego, he's there practically every day. And what he does, somehow or other, I don't know how, but he gets big rocks, big rocks, small rocks, all different types of rocks, and it's windy and this and that, and he gets rocks and he stacks them like this. And he gets them, really high, and they're stacking, And he's famous for that. Everybody goes, oh, the rock. He's called the Rock Man. So this devotee was telling me that, Rasikananda was telling me the other day. He said that some people who frequently go to Seaport Village, like an ordinary kind of materialistic guy, somehow or other, one of his acquaintances, they went to India. And Rasikananda said, oh, you should go to Mayapur. So somehow or other this fellow made it to Mayapur. But he was, just like a really kind of a karmi guy, just... so he went there, and he went and he had Mahaprasad, and he saw the Radha Madhava and the Ashtasakis, and went through the whole experience and everything, and then traveled around India, and then he came back, and he went up to Rasikananda and he told him about his experience in Mayapur, and he said, and he was serious. He wasn't joking. He was serious. This guy. He said, "Oh yeah, I went to Mayapur and it was very nice, and yeah, all those women were really attractive and really beautiful, He was talking about the Ashtasakis. They were really attractive and beautiful, but that black guy, yeah, he was kind of, which he's talking about Madhava, Madhava, because he said like that black guy, and he's kind of in the way, but they're all very beautiful." And I was like, okay, wow. And he was saying it seriously. He wasn't joking around. I was like, whoa, this guy is quite an interesting fellow. So yeah, that's practically, if somebody is saying, oh, I'm God, then yes, the Supreme Enjoyer, there it is. That guy is, deep down within him, he has a desire to be God. He may not say that, but that's what's going on. One time my mother, she asked me, she said, oh, the philosophy says that everybody wants to be God, because that's kind of what that's also what the books are saying, that yeah, people have a desire to be, take the position of God and all that. And she said, how is that? Because you don't meet people, and they give them your they give you your business card and it says, oh, I am God. You don't meet people like that, nor do they say it most of the time. Oh, I am God. So she said, how is it that? How to explain that? And I said, okay, well, we could look at what they're doing in their life and look at their mentality. Because they have that saying, right? Actions speak louder than words. So if somebody is acting in a particular way, a very mundane, materialist way, enjoyer and all these different things, Hiranyakashipu, whatever, gold and whatever, soft bed, all this stuff, right? Material life. Then, and don't want God in the picture, then practically, yes, they're wanting to be God on the subconscious level. So our mission and our mission in our life is One of them is to realize that we're not God. That's one thing. That's actually a step, to realize we're not God. And then also to explain to people who think they're God that they're not God, and to explain to those people who may not think they're God, but they accept an ordinary man as God, that he's not God. And then to realize that Krishna's God. Right? And we realize Krishna's God. But then after realizing Krishna's God, interesting enough, is that on the highest platform in the spiritual world, in Goloka Vrindavan, they're actually not even concerned or not even really aware that Krishna's God. Why? Because how can Mother Yashoda chastise Krishna, right? She chastises Krishna. How can she chastise Krishna if she's thinking, oh, this is Vishnu? She can't chastise Krishna. So she has to realize, oh, this is my little boy, right? And he's being bad, so I'm going to chastise him. Even Krishna himself, through his energies, he also likes to not be aware that he's God. He actually likes that. I mean, I was reading the other day that Krishna goes into the house. He's in his mother's house, or goes into the different, gopis' house, and then he's looking for butter. And what was it? He went in there and he looked into a, I don't know, it was some type of jewel or something like that. He looked into a mirror or jewel in which he saw his own reflection, and he thought it was another boy, and he said, oh, because he was still in butter. He said, oh, no, don't tell on me, it's okay, And he thought it was like that. It's kind of interesting. So he also likes to forget that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to enjoy these different relationships. And whatever we see in this world is a distorted reflection of what's in the spiritual world. And therefore, in this world there are varieties, and in the spiritual world there's varieties. So we accept that there's varieties. And it says that, right, there's the saying that variety is the mother of enjoyment. So yeah, that's important, because Krishna's also, we're not against variety. Krishna is into variety. We're into variety just like at the Sunday feast. If we were to every Sunday serve the same thing, whatever, we serve rice and green mung dal with cumin seeds in it, and we were to serve grung potatoes, right, sour cream potatoes, and salad. But we did that every single week, without fail. And we had halava with raisins in it every single week. Now, the first few weeks, people might think, oh, well, this is nice. And then eventually they're going to think, hey, what's going on here? We might have like a riot outside, like picket us or whatever. Not a riot, but, put up signs. And we want a variety. And people are paying, right? So they want variety. So, and that's that people consider that enjoyable. Even there's this, Prabhupada mentions that the rich man sometimes, he likes to eat chipped rice, which is not very nice, and just kind of cheap rice. He likes to eat that sometimes. Why? Because of variety. So, spiritual life is variety. There's many varieties, and it's dynamic, and it's exciting. It's actually adventure. That's what, and Srila Prabhupada always wants us to keep that in mind. That's adventure. So we're not supposed to be feeling like it's not adventure. It's like boring or something. It's actually the most adventurous thing, becoming Krishna conscious. Prabhupada wrote a letter to Janardhan in Canada. Janardhan was one of Prabhupada's early disciples, and he went to Canada. I'm not exactly sure how far he went in terms of spreading Krishna consciousness in Canada, but there's some letters that Srila Prabhupada wrote to him. And Prabhupada said that, he said that, we should cooperate to spread this Krishna consciousness, and if we cooperate and if we work together, then we'll be successful in this great adventure of spreading Krishna consciousness. So that's nice. So, anyways, the time's up for me. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Anything you'd like to say? Going once? Going twice? Okay. Okay.
I still haven't figured this out. No, I know I am Rishi.
Yes.
Rishi is one. Is it one? Or
Yeah. Well, Narayan, Rishi, that's Krishna and Arjuna. So that's explained to be two, but also sometimes they're referred to as one. Yes. Well, not one combined, but yeah, two people in one, two in one. They act as one. Well, at least when we see the pictures that the devotees have painted in the pages of the Bhagavatam, we see that they're two.
yeah.
Okay, so they're two, but maybe they're just so close they're considered one. Like Radha and Krishna, they're so close sometimes, right? Hare Krishna. I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, we may suffer from Mayavadi disease, we may suffer from atheist disease, so that's true. Sometimes devotees may have a day where they're feeling a little atheistic. Man. But one devotee brought up an interesting point the other day to me, which I never really thought about, and that's the value of devotee association, because devotees will bring up things that we haven't, certain angles of vision, ways of thinking that we sometimes don't. So he was saying that if we look at this verse of the Nectar of Instruction, the verse that we read the other day in one of the classes, that that one should not criticize or see a devotee in a materialistic fashion. It means a devotee with a defected body, or a devotee born in a certain family, right? Prabhupada says in the purport, whether one's born in the family of acharyas, or one means like powerful acharyas, or whether one's born in an ordinary family. If one's a devotee, there shouldn't be a distinction. Oh, this is like this, or this is an Indian Goswami, this is an American Goswami. But they should be respected, both on the same level. And what else? Defect of the body. What else was it saying? Birth. Different things. What is it? Yeah. So, and it said that a learned person, they will bathe in the Ganges, whether it's muddy and dirty or not, they'll bathe in there. Why? Because it's purifying. So a learned person will take association from devotees no matter what. Doesn't matter what their external condition is. So this devotee brought up this point that sometimes devotees or sometimes people may criticize a devotee based on a particular devotee's attitude or mentality. For example, someone may say, oh, he's so impersonal. Oh, Zach's so impersonal. He didn't even smile at me. He didn't even say hello. He's just so impersonal. Like, what's wrong with him? And then they may even put that in the category of impersonalism, like, Mayavadis and like that. People wanted to be God or whatever. Which, they'll criticize that. They'll criticize a devotee based on that. But this devotee brought up the point that, well, maybe that's just how he is, or how she is. In other words, according to their body type, right? Ayurveda has this whole idea. You have certain body types, also certain minds, and therefore you have certain behavior that that you move under. The different bodies and different minds means different behavior. So a devotee may be, impersonal in the sense, maybe not so friendly, whatever. And devotees will criticize that. But this devotee is bringing up the point that could be in relation to this verse of the Nectar of Instruction. You shouldn't criticize a devotee based on their bodily, problems, defects, which also means mind. They go together. But you should take the association of devotees. So some devotees are just like that. They're just by nature introverted, maybe not so friendly externally, all this, but we shouldn't criticize them based on that. So does that make sense? Is that clear? Yeah? Okay. I thought it was a good point. All right. Does anyone have any other... No? Okay. All right. So, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Bhagavatam 2, 9, 33 through 36, with translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srimadbhagavatam 2, 9, 33. Ahamevassamevagre nanyadyat sadasatparam pascharaham miretacha yo vishishcheta sosmyaham. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now was also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Purport. We should note very carefully that the personality of Godhead is addressing Lord Brahma and specifying with great emphasis himself, pointing out that it is he, the personality of Godhead, who existed before the creation, it is he only who maintains the creation, and that it is he only who remains after the annihilation of the creation. Brahma is also a creation of the Supreme Lord. The impersonalist puts forth the theory of oneness in the sense that Brahma, also being the same principle of I because he is an emanation from the I, the absolute truth, is identical with the Lord, the principle of I, and that there is thus nothing more than the principle of I, as explained in this verse. Accepting the argument of the impersonalist, it is to be admitted that the Lord is the creator I, and that the Brahma is the created I. Therefore, there is a difference between the two I's, namely the predominator I and the predominated I. Therefore, there are still two I's, even accepting the argument of the impersonalist. But we must note carefully that these two I's are accepted in the Vedic literature, Kathopanishad, in the sense of quality. The Kathopanishad says, Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vedadhati kaman. The creator I and the created I are both accepted in the Vedas as qualitatively one, because both of them are nityas and chetanas. But the singular I is the creator I, and the created I's are of plural number, because there are many I's like Brahma and those generated by Brahma. It is the simple truth. The Father creates or begets a son, and the Son also creates many other sons, and all of them may be one as human beings, but at the same time, from the Father, the Son, and the grandsons are all different. The Son cannot take the place of the Father, nor can the grandsons. Simultaneously, the Father, the Son, and the grandson are one and different also. As human beings, they are one, but as relativities, they are different. Therefore, the relativities of the Creator and the created, or the predominator and the predominated, have been differentiated in the Vedas by saying that the predominator I is the feeder of the predominated I's, and thus there is a vast difference between the two principles of I. In another feature of this verse, no one can deny the personalities of both the Lord and Brahma. Therefore, in the ultimate issue, both the predominator and predominated are persons. This conclusion refutes the conclusion of the impersonalist that in the ultimate issue, everything is impersonal. This impersonal feature, stressed by the less intelligent impersonalist school, is refuted by pointing out that the predominator I is the absolute truth, and that he is a person. The predominated I, Brahma, is also a person, but he is not the absolute. For realization of oneself in spiritual psychology, it may be convenient to assume oneself to be the same principle as the absolute truth, but there is always the difference of the predominated and the predominator, as clearly pointed out here in this verse, which is grossly misused by the impersonalists. Brahma is factually seeing face to face his predominator Lord, who exists in his transcendental eternal form, even after the annihilation of the material creation. The form of the Lord, as seen by Brahma, existed before the creation of Brahma, and the material manifestation with all the ingredients and agents of material creation are also energetic expansions of the Lord. And after the exhibition of the Lord's energy comes to a close, what remains is the same personality of Godhead. Therefore, the form of the Lord exists in all circumstances of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. The Vedic hymns confirm this fact in the statement Vasudevo Vahidam Agra Asin Na Brahma Na Cha Shankara Eko Narayana Asin Na Brahma Neshana, etc. Before the creation there was none except Vasudeva. There was neither Brahma nor Shankara. Only Narayan was there and no one else, neither Brahma nor Ishana. Sripad Shankaracharya also confirms in his comments on the Bhagavad Gita that Narayan, or the personality of Godhead, is transcendental to all creation, but that the whole creation is the product of Avyakta. Therefore, the difference between the created and the creator is always there, although both the creator and created are of the same quality. The other feature of the statement is that the supreme truth is Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead and his kingdom have already been explained. The kingdom of Godhead is not void as conceived by the impersonalists. The Vaikuntha planets are full of transcendental variegatedness, including the four-handed residents of those planets, with great opulence of wealth and prosperity. And there are even airplanes and other amenities required for high-grade personalities. Therefore, the personality of Godhead exists before the creation, and he exists with all transcendental variegatedness in the Vaikuntha Lokas. The Vaikuntha Lokas, also accepted in the Bhagavad Gita as being of the Sanatan nature, are not annihilated, even after the annihilation of the manifested cosmos. Those transcendental planets are of a different nature altogether, and that nature is not subjected to the rules and regulations of material creation, maintenance, or annihilation. The existence of the personality of Godhead implies the existence of the Vaikuntha Lokas, as the existence of a king implies the existence of a kingdom. In various places in srimadbhagavatam and in other revealed scriptures, the existence of the personality of Godhead is mentioned. For example, at srimadbhagavatam 2.8.10, Maharaj Parikshit asks, Sachapi yatro purusho vishwastit yudbhavapyayaha muktvatma mayam mayesha sete sabhagohashayaha. How does the personality of Godhead, the cause of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, who is always freed from the influence of the illusory energy and is the controller of the same, lie in everyone's heart? Similar also is the question of Viduras, Tatvanam bhagavans tesham katida patisankramaha tatremam kahupasiran kahusvidnanusherate. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.7.